Hello, Booktube community. My name is Risa, or Redheaded Wanderlust, and this is my first video for Booktube. It's my Booktube Newbie Tag. So I'm going to answer some questions. The first question is, why are you starting this channel? And for me, I'm starting this channel, one, for connection. Not necessarily to meet like a huge community of new people. I do have friends who are pretty bookish. The problem is I live in Washington, D.C., so it's transient. People move in and out all the time. So of my two best friends, one lives in upstate New York, one lives in Philly, and within the next 2 years, I'll be moving to Colorado, hopefully, and then eventually I'll be converting an RV and living out of the RV for a while and just traveling. So it would be amazing to have a bookish community, expanded, and maybe even be able to meet some of you, at that point when I'm living out of a van like a hippie. Also to hold myself accountable for reading. I love reading. It's one of my passions, but a lot of times in life it gets put to the bottom of priorities for things. So I feel like if I had a channel where I'm talking about what I'm reading and I'm building those connections with people, it holds me a lot more accountable. In there. So those are the main reasons. Hopefully make more friends. Question 2 is, what are some fun and unique things about you? So I think maybe one thing is that I'm older. I'm 36, and I feel like there are not a ton of people my age on Booktube, or maybe I just have not found them yet, but I feel like the bulk of people are younger and they read a lot of young adult, and I like young adult. It's fantastic, but I read a lot of I feel like maybe older, like adult books. I love travel memoirs. I love that. I love to travel, so I love to read memoirs, that kind of thing. Also, I'm like textbook extrovert. So yeah, a lot of people in here talk about being introverts, and I'm not at all. And I don't know if that will come through or what. I love hosting parties, love talking to people. I'm very comfortable in social settings. So I don't know, maybe that's a little unique for this. We'll see. You guys will pick. Also, I don't know, I'm older, I'm a bit of a hippie at heart, and so we'll see if that makes a difference when it comes to books and what books I'm choosing. So I think the third question is, what are you most excited for about this new channel? Meeting new people. I think especially when you're in a situation where you're like, oh, I love this, and somebody else is like, I love this too, you're just like, it just warms your heart a little. All those little connections in life that we make with people who love the things we love is good for our mental health. It makes us feel connected. And as humans, we're pack animals. We are made to be with each other and foster these connections. And so hopefully I'll get that from this channel, and also book recommendations. Like, I want to know when you read a book, and we all have this moment where you finish that book and you have to hold it. You're like, this book. I want to know what those books are for you guys, and I want to read those books so I can have more of those moments too. So next question is, why do you love reading? Okay. My parents definitely fostered a love of reading. My dad would read every night in his big easy chair in his study, and I'm my father's child, so I wanted to read because dad read. And my mom also fostered it. She encouraged reading so much. She took us to the library every week and we would get books. And I remember as a child, I always got this huge book on gnomes. It was very scientific, and I wanted to be a gnomologist. So that's not a real job, but I teach preschool, and I feel like it's pretty similar in a lot of ways. It's little people, little weird little culture. So they made me love reading. And then I think it helps with anxiety. I don't get anxiety too too bad, but I realized one day when I was feeling anxious that the first thing I did was reach for a book, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I thought back and I'm like, that's how I've always dealt with anxieties, is read. I was like, no, just gonna go into a fantasy land now and just not deal with this. I don't know. But yeah, reading helps, I think, with my anxiety. I'm definitely an escapist reader. And the third reason I really love reading is because I love people and I love hearing their stories, and I love learning about different cultures and different backgrounds. And reading not only connects us more to the world, but I think it makes us more empathetic too. And like, I use books as a preschool teacher to teach empathy to children. And I think it translates into reading, books as an adult, except I'm not there, telling you like, how do you think he felt? How would you feel? Like, you internalize that as an adult. So I think books make me a much more empathetic person, and everybody, hopefully, a more empathetic person, because we need more empathy in the world. All right, the next question I think I combined is what books got you into reading, and when, I think I combined these, and kind of when did you become a reader? So I think the first books I remember devouring were Roald Dahl. I read Matilda and the Witches probably 5 times, like in a row. I'd go back and forth in 5th grade. Same with Secret Garden. I loved Secret Garden. And then in 6th grade, I discovered Avi, and I loved Avi. And I also learned about the Holocaust, and I became kind of obsessive about reading books about survivors of the Holocaust, and obsessed with just history and how the human spirit responds to things. But I think that's when I realized that being a reader was part of my identity. And luckily, my 2 best friends at the time, Christy and Sarah, they were readers too. So that was something that connected us. Luckily, being a reader with them it was more part of who I was. I didn't feel like, I don't know, more of an introvert, or, kind of like, oh, I'm the only one reading. Like, I was very lucky to have my 2 best friends love reading at the same time. So that definitely helped foster it as well. Let me see. Next question is, what would you ask your favorite booktubers? Think recommendations. Just, any book that you read that you're like, girl, you gotta read this book. I want to know what that book is, because I want to read it. So also, what challenges do you think you're going to have starting this channel? I'm not tech savvy. Like, guys, I had to write reports on typewriters until 6th grade. That's how old I am. And Google was like just invented when I was leaving college. So there's that. So this video, I'm sure, is a hot mess. I'm sure the lighting's terrible. I'm doing it in one go because I don't know how to edit. So it is what it is. I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out as we go. Yeah. And then let me see. Where do I love to read? Anywhere? Probably my bed and my pink velvet couch, where I read the most. But I love to read outside. So right now in DC, it's getting like 70s. It's sunny, and thank God I can read in the sun, because we're all stuck inside right now with COVID, and it's pretty bad here. So being able to read on the porch has made a huge difference. It's been amazing. But yeah, I'll read pretty much anywhere. Like at school, while we have nap time, which is when I take my lunch and then I come back. As long as they're asleep, I get to read. So I get like a little reading break in my day, which I'm lucky. So assuming they're being good and they're sleeping. So anyways, yeah. So last question is, what do I love to read? Fantasy. I love fantasy. It will always be my foremost favorite. I love that. I love a lot of nonfiction too. So things that are like human nature and how we respond, and also neuroscience. Neuroscience fascinates me, and especially with my job, learning more about neuroplasticity and how the brain learns things and translates things, and how you can rewire these things. For being a teacher, yeah, it's really informative and it helps. And sometimes I try things different ways for different kids because of neuroscience books I've read just to try it out. And then I've been getting really into travel memoirs. The older I get, the more I travel, the more I think about just living in a van by the river. Sounds awesome to me. So yeah, a lot of those. And then history. Like I went to school for history. History is my first love. Especially I took like 5 years of Latin. So I love Roman history. I love Russian history. I love American history. Like I kind of go through phases where I become like obsessed with a certain time of history and then I move on. And I love the history of American women, like some amazing characters. And I love learning about them and how they've shaped the world and this country for my generation and the future generations. So yeah, those are pretty much all the questions, and I hope to connect with people and learn from people and get to talk about what books you love that I love. And I hope everybody is getting the help they need right now and reaching out to people in their community and their family and their friends to stay sane, because most of us are stuck inside and community is more important than probably I've ever experienced so far. So I hope everybody is doing well and reaching out, and I'm excited to talk to people. All right, have a great day, guys.